Last weekend, I was able to attend the Play NYC Convention at the Manhattan Center in New York City. It was a fantastic time, and I spent the weekend catching up with old friends, meeting new friends, and checking out a ton of interesting new indie games. There I am on the second floor, looking for the next one. I wanted to make this video to highlight some of the most interesting indie games that I discovered. It's by no means a comprehensive list, and I didn't have nearly enough time to check out every single indie game on display, but consider this a list of my 5 favorite finds at this year's Play NYC. Domino by Ben Kostrel, Chris Williams, and Edinar Kuntman. Domino is a clever game that's something close to Tetris meets real-time strategy. In each game of Domino, your goal's simple. Make a line of your colored bricks to your enemy's base, thus winning the game. However, the strategy comes into Domino in the fact that certain configurations of bricks can be converted into different upgrade buildings, such as a building that gives you the ability to place bricks more often, or the ability to destroy your enemy's bricks more quickly. Add into this the fact that each map is going to have a number of neutral buildings that you'll be fighting with your opponent over, and you have the makings of a very clever, very strategic game that I've never seen anything quite like. Domino is scheduled to be coming out on iOS devices. I'd actually heard about Kungfu Kickball quite a bit before this Play NYC from Andrew Lindy when we interviewed him over Avaria Versus, but this weekend was my first opportunity to actually play Kungfu Kickball. Whale Food Games have created an incredibly fun action sports game, one that forces you to kick and punch and fly through the air, all in hopes that you can desperately move a little red kickball towards your opponent's bell. Use that ball to ring the bell, and you'll gain a point. And that's really all there is to it. It's a fantastic art direction, the controls are tight, and it just feels fun to play. I think it has the makings of a must-have, and it really should be on everybody's watch list. The Last Hex was actually a pretty big surprise for me. It's an interesting combination of different game elements. It's 1 part RPG, 1 part deck builder, and 1 part roguelike, all set on this absolutely gorgeous hex board that's randomly generated every time you play the game. Your goal is simple. As a hero of the land, you have to stop the encroaching army of undead at the Last Hex. To do this, you're going to have to get more powerful by fighting monsters and completing quests across the land. Doing this builds your deck. You'll get new cards, new attacks, new potions and shields, all in the service of making a deck that's going to serve you well. Because once you get to a certain point, you won't be able to build that deck anymore, and you'll have to take it up against the enemy that's encroaching upon this land. It's a really interesting mix of mechanics, and I found it incredibly fun to play. Super Chrome Bullet Purgatory by Stumphead Games is a wicked nostalgic space shooter. It controls incredibly tightly, and there's a surprising variety of enemies, even at this early point in development. You're able to slow down time, which is a skill I loved having in this kind of shooter, and you're able to dash through your enemy's bullets to avoid damage. Add into this a really interesting, sorta creepy art style of all these space monsters you're fighting, and you've got a really interesting game I can't wait to see developed. My top pick from this year's Play NYC, however, is Aquamarine by Moby. It's a turn-based roguelike focused on exploration on an alien world covered in a layer of sea. It's absolutely gorgeous, looking like something from the work of Mobius or a 70s science fiction comic book. There's an interesting play in this game, even at this early stage, between your resources and your fuel, and your interactions with the ecosystem of this planet may have far-reaching consequences. There's a Kickstarter coming for Aquamarine next month, so keep an eye out. I hope you enjoyed this look at some of the most interesting indie games we found at this year's Play NYC convention. If you like this kind of content and want to learn more about a whole bunch of other indie games, then please subscribe to Indie Hangover.